Okay, so shall we start now?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I think everyone is ready and some may join after 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
So we are starting. Let me introduce today's speakers. So it is a great honor to have with us our guest speakers today, Professor Monomita Nandi and Dr. Suman Lodha. Professor Nandi is the professor at the Brunel University, London, and a globally recognized scholar in accounting, finance, and sustainable energy and strategy goals. She holds dual PhD and is a fellow of Academy of Social Science. And her research has contributed to policy discussions, including UK Parliament inquiries, EU tax reforms, and India's sustainable reporting framework. She is also an associate editor of leading journals and an award-winning lecturer who has mentored many doctoral scholars. And joining her today we have Dr. Suman Lodha, associate professor at Kingston University, London. With over 13 years of research experience, he is specialist in financial econometrics and data analytics and an accredited researcher at the UK Office for National Statistics. He has led and contributed to several major research projects funded by the UKRI and other international organizations and has published more than 45 high quality research articles. We are truly delighted to have both of them today with us and looking forward for their insightful discussion. Now, over to you, ma'am and sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ram. I think you have to stop sharing so that I can
Yes,
start sharing the slides.
yes, ma'am. I am stopping.
Yeah,
Now
let
stop. You can
me.
please share.
Okay, now why this is looking different. Okay. And like share. Give me 1 second. So can you just see my screen
Yep.
without
Uh,
anything
yes,
else? Like
yes, ma'am.
only the slides,
Yes,
okay?
yes. Only your slides in the presentation mode.
Okay. And
Yes,
it's full screen, right?
Yep.
yes, full screen, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, and good morning from London. So I'm Manumita Nandi, as Dr. Ram mentioned, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to share some of our insights around this technology adoption and sustainable development goals. So the plan is I will start the presentation and then I will hand over to Dr. Suman Lod. Okay. So, this session is mainly about how technology can support the achievement of our sustainable development goals. So, we will talk about SDGs in detail later on. So, we will try to explore the meaning of this sustainability and the global SDG framework, why it was introduced, and how business regulators and different stakeholders can actually use the technology to address the environmental and social challenges. So the presentation will also highlight some of the real world examples of technology driven some sustainable solution. So we will pick up the questions at the end and let us first discuss those points, and then if you have any question you can put it in the chat, and at the end we will pick up your questions. Now let's start with this AI generated picture. Okay, so there definitely I have not drawn this one. So you can see the wind turbine here and the solar panels. So what those icons indicates. So it means that we need renewable energy to save this earth in between. So in the center, we have the earth, and we are trying to do different things to protect our earth and to have a quality, sustainable life for all of us. So we need renewable energy. And why we need renewable energy? I think you all knew about it. So we want to harness the clean energy without depleting any resources, right? Then there are two more icons here, the tree and this leaf. So these icons are actually indicating that we need to think really seriously about our environment, and we have to think about how to protect our environment, then preserving our biodiversity and natural ecosystem, because these are really important for our life and to live a sustainable life. Then not only talking I know that whenever we talk about SDG, people think, okay, you will now start talking about environment, planet, climate change and all those things, but that's not true. In sustainable development goals, you will see that they covered almost all the aspects of our day-to-day life. It is environment, it is us in the system, it is about our economic growth. So everything is included in this sustainable development framework. And the main challenge is we sometimes don't understand how to link those things. So here the people icon, they are associated with social equity. So why we need social equity? We need it to ensure that we are able to take care of our well-being. Life is an inclusive and sorry and if we take care of our well-being and people in our society, in our community, then we can live in an inclusive society. And what I mean by inclusive society, that we all should take equal part in the development of the economic situation or the economic development, then taking care of biodiversity, taking care of environment. Um, we all should have equal right in this society, and we all should take care equally. And we all should also have fair access to resources. So whatever resources is available, it shouldn't go to one particular sector or one area of a country. It should be equally distributed among all of us. Then comes this building picture, the icons, the building with this dollar sign. So this actually indicates the need of economic sustainability, because if we don't have money, we will not survive, right? We have to do production, we have to take care of the environment, and for everything we need money. And it is only possible if we can see any sustainability in the whole economic system. So we need to follow a responsible growth strategy in our economy, and businesses should not focus on short-term profit. They need to think about long-term stability. But saying all those things, do you think we are living in a sustainable situation? The answer is no. So we are in an unsustainability situation. Why? Because if you look around, you will see that we are not using renewables as much as we need. So as a result, what we can see
ये
that
म्यूट क्यों कर दिया अपना बात? इसने खुद भी म्यूट कर दिया अपने आप को।
sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am, please continue. This is
Okay.
different. Yeah, please continue.
Okay. So
Mhm.
तो भी नहीं सुनाई दे रहा। इसने खुद
sorry. So
Sorry.
am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay.
Please continue.
Okay, thank you. So the main challenge is we are not in a sustainable situation, and like as I was mentioning, that we can see that we are relying more on fossil fuels, and this type of things would lead to climate change. And we have several countries suffering from deforestation. And because of biodiversity loss, we can see lots of soil erosion happening. Then The agricultural lands are under stress, and because of the social exclusion also, that there exists inequality, unrest, people are fighting with each other to get the available resources, and we are focused very much, the businesses are very much focused on short-term profit, and as a result we cannot see a sustainable economic growth. So when these elements are missing or mismanaged, what would happen? The art will suffer. So that's why I put the art in the center. And so when the art will suffer, we will also suffer. Okay. And we will try to live beyond this planetary limits, right? So then what is sustainability? So sustainability refers to a system that can continue indefinitely and without exhausting the available natural resources. That's a big challenge. We keep on using the natural resources without understanding to what extent we should use, and we should start looking for alternatives like alternative energies. At present, I can say the humanity is definitely operating in an unsustainable way because we are exceeding the ecological limits. And achieving this sustainability, what it needs, it requires balancing environmental protection. This is really important point. We need to remember these 3 points all the time. You might already know about this, but when I explain someone who doesn't know about sustainable development goals, I always ask them to remember 3 things. So we have to balance between environmental protection, social well-being, and we have to also take care of economic growth. We cannot rely on one element. Though in our research we do lots of things around different one aspect, but you have to always think that how you can link these 3 elements in your study, because if you focus more on one element you cannot achieve the overall sustainable future. So it is not only about protecting the planet, but also how we redesign our societies, how we live in this society, the way we work, the way we grow, like how we are thinking these 3 elements of this whole art, our whole planet, and how we are linking these 3 elements in our day-to-day lives. So instead of focusing more on how to protect the environment, we have to think, we have to take an holistic approach, and we have to think about all these elements. And this is one of the reasons that there were like whenever we talk about sustainable development goals, we always see this picture, right? But before this picture came in, there were different committees discussing about different challenges that we were facing over years. And I can say that that it came after, I think the process started around 1960s or before that, and then over years people understood that we need to link these 3 elements. So the Brundtland Commission defines sustainable development as meeting present needs without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their needs. So if we use all the resources available now, then we will have nothing for the future generation, which is not right. So we have to make balance between these 3 elements so that the future generations, and we have to start thinking from now. When I say now, means it's long back. They proposed this 2015. It was approved in the Paris Agreement, and this concept definitely emphasized the long-term thinking and responsible resource uses. So that's why there are 17 SDGs here, and it's provide a global roadmap. Okay, I would say for integrating these environmental, social, and economic priorities into our development strategies. So if you are in the policy making team, you have to take care of the 17 goals. If you are in a business, you have to think about how to link environment, social, and economic priorities. So, in summary, I would say the SDGs aim to create an inclusive and definitely sustainable and resilient future for people and also our planet. So they like we are harmonizing these three core element here: how to do sustainable, how to observe a sustainable economic growth, how we can operate in a social inclusive system, and how these two things together can protect our environment or environmental challenges, I would say. So they focus on and how we can do that. These goals could focus on reducing poverty and improving our living standards. Like if we have less inflation, higher economic growth, we can observe a better living standard. Then if we try to respect every individual in this society equally, and we won't try to snatch resources from one another, and we kind of think together that how we can protect our environment, how we can take care of our biodiversity, and if there is any challenge, how to address the challenge together. So those things together, I think that was the main objective actually of this Sustainable Development Goals framework. And definitely that whatever we are doing, that should lead to economic growth. Like when we are sharing our knowledge with all of you, we will learn from you, we will share our knowledge with you. So in this way we are actually helping our future generation, right? So this is also part of Sustainable Development Goals. And then say if we are using this Zoom platform to connect with each other, instead of you flying to London or we flying from London to Uzbekistan. So we are reducing carbon emission, and we are helping how we can protect our environment, right? So and more carbon emission means more climate change. So we all are making equal effort and to protect our environment and to show steady economic growth. Okay, and in these days you will see that. And when we say social inclusion, we have to be very careful. We shouldn't take out the people in the rural area or in the developing economies where they are not getting resources or services. So we have to take care of everyone in this society in whichever capacity we can do it. And like all the businesses needs to take care of not only their profit, how they can make profit, but they have to also think that they shouldn't do any disturbance through their operation towards the society, and they should take care of their local community, national and global community. And if you think about carbon cannot stay in one place, in one city, right? So it's a global phenomenon. So we all need to take equal initiatives to address those challenges. So you can see more about the targets in the if you just Google the UN website. There you will see that what are the objectives of each of those goals, and what are the targets, how the countries are performing around different goals, and where we are, and and that could be your research topic, like what we should do to achieve those targets in the near future. Many countries, they mention different years for when they want to achieve those goals. So It's really important to understand. And if you are not doing research, if you are a student there, I don't know what's the background of all the participants, but if you are a student, if you have to write a project, if you are doing dissertation, then please make sure you are taking care of the sustainable development goal somehow, because when you will be in the job market, people will ask you questions around that. And also, alongside that, you need to think also about the your knowledge around technology development, so how you can apply the technology to achieve those goals. So that's the main purpose of this talk. And Suman will talk more about the technology side. And this but when I was explaining this SDGs, so the next question is how well we are achieving these SDGs. So it's a very scary situation, I would say, to test this planetary bound. So to test this thing, that how we can achieve those where we are. When we talk about achievement of SDGs, we can apply. We should apply the planetary boundaries framework, which was developed. Again, I have given the link, and you can find the details in the link. If you just Google that planetary boundaries, you will get the link, and you can go to their website to understand why it was developed and how it was developed, the methodology, and where we are at present. So we have seen from 2009, there were these red colors are the danger area. So I know the picture is not that prominent, but this covers actually infrastructure, ocean, then freshwater, land system, and all those things. So here in 2009, you can see only three were in red color, means we the human being, through our activities, including businesses. So because of our activities, we cross these boundaries, which is not good. Over 2015, you will see the red colors are increasing, means we are doing more damage to our environment. And in 2023, we crossed 6 boundaries, and in 2025, latest, we crossed 7 boundaries. So we are already in a dangerous situation. So if we cannot try to protect our environment, protect our society, then we are heading towards a complete unsustainable situation, which is not good to any one of us. So the planetary boundaries framework was mainly developed, which to identify these the 9 ecological limits within which the humanity must operate. To why they should operate within these 9 limits, because if we operate within these 9 limits, we can avoid the irreversible environmental damage, because whatever damage we are doing now is irreversible. So we cannot reverse the system and get back to the earlier situation. Is damaged means it's already gone. So crossing these boundaries increase the risk of climate instability, then biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse. Now, as I explained before, that if we are increasing those risks, that will affect our well-being, that will affect the economic system. So the social aspects, the human aspects, social aspects, and the economic aspects will also be disturbed. So that's why it is really, really important to understand what are those boundaries and do more research, make yourself more aware that what type of activities you need to do. Whatever you are doing in your day-to-day life. You might be a student, you might be an academic, you might be an administrator, or you might be thinking about setting up a business or you are already associated with a business, whatever you are doing, you have to be really, really aware, and you have to make like proper decision. And it is evident that in the research we have seen, and even in practice, that technology and policy must work together. Because this is always a question wherever I talk about these planetary boundaries. They say, okay, what I can do if the government is not asking us to do certain things. Yes, government should ask us to do certain things. The policymakers should restrict certain activities done by businesses, but we shouldn't just stop ourselves from thinking what we can do, how we can contribute. And in this current framework, what should be my contribution? And we all need to work together to ensure these human activities remain within this safe operating limit. Uh, and but the question is, are we staying within that limit? Again, the answer is no. So, what is happening? And this donut economics, which you might already know, and you might have seen in several other talks, people talking about this donut economic is because it's so important to understand where we are. So, if you see this picture, the inner circle, the inner ring, that represents our essential human needs, such as our health needs, our education, how we should deal with equality. So these are our needs, okay, in the center. And the outer ring, then the light green color, is the safe and just space for humanity. So to survive properly, we need to be here. We can go until this second layer, which is the light green color. So that the goal is to ensure that everyone has access to life's essential while staying within these environmental boundaries. So this model kind of encourages regenerative and distributive economic system. But in simple term, if I would like to explain this picture, I would say that these central needs, which is inside this ring, the inner ring, uh, to to achieve those things, we can be in a safe limit if we are within the green limit, but we are overshooting here. And as a result, what is happening? We are doing reckless production. So to get more product, we are traveling here and there using flights, and even when we are going for shopping in short distance, we are driving without understanding that I'm emitting carbon by my activities, and that's affecting the climate. And that is, as a result, we can see the climate change. We are not thinking like this way, right? And when you leave your classroom, you might always switch off the lights and the projectors, but sometimes we forget. We say, oh, we forgot, because we are not taking those things very seriously in our life. And as a result, but what we are doing is we are trying to go beyond these ecological limits, and we are trying to generate short-term profit, and as a result we are going beyond the safe zone, and thus we can see rapid climate change happening. So we can see extreme weather conditions, like you have seen in the news, so many weather conditions, either wildfire or storm or heavy snowfall, droughts, floods. It's happening all over the world. And even in recent news, they were saying that these days you can feel more turbulence when you are flying, and it was not before. And those things are happening because of weather change. So, if you think carefully, if you observe in your day-to-day life, you will see the weather is changing a lot. and we are not taking care of animals. So sorry for this disturbing picture. It was somewhere in Asian countries, and if we are killing animals, we are disturbing the biodiversity balance, which is not good for any one of us. And we can see that polluted ocean, and that is affecting the wildlife, and it's not good at all for anyone. So I think it's a big issue for all of us, and we should stop those things. And when I say we, business plays an important role here. So I will hand over now to Suman to carry on about what we can do to address those challenges. So over to you, Suman.
Unmute yourself, sir. I think you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Muted, yes. Sorry. This is the
Thank you, sir.
problem of IT and the technology. So we keep on speaking, but nobody listens. So now I think, Monumita, if you can please stop share so that I can interact with them with something. Hopefully that will bring something in life.
And Suman, sorry, do you want to share your screen?
Yes,
You can
I'll
do
do.
that?
I'll
Okay,
do.
then I'm
Yes.
not sharing anymore. Okay,
Yes,
fine.
thank you. You can see I have a plastic bottle, and if I unscrew the lid and the lid is not coming out, it's stuck at some point. And Monomita was showing that a single-use plastic. And the problem here is when we use a plastic bottle, let's say for water bottle or anything that we buy and it has got a plastic bottle, or something like a plastic package, we use the materials inside food or something, and then we throw out these plastics, including the lids. Somewhere in the UK, in one of the recycling center, we recycle about 15,000 tons of milk plastic bottles per year. 15,000 tons in one of the recycling center in the UK. Now think about in the world. However, if you think that, oh, can I scale it? It's a huge amount of plastics that we are recycling through newer technology. But you'll be surprised, only 17 to 20% of plastics are recycled. So what's about that another 80% of plastics? Where are they going? And the reality is, ultimately, they land in ocean. Let me show you a short video, and hopefully you'll get some idea about what's going on. Share. Dr. Ram, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Slide.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. We can see.
Yes.
Suman, make it full screen. And we
Millions and
cannot
millions
hear.
Millions and millions of years ago, small animals such as plankton and plants such as algae sank to the bottom of oceans and lakes where they decomposed under the pressure and heat of sand, clay, and other minerals. Over millions of years, this produced crude oil. This is then extracted and pumped to an oil refinery where it is separated into different petroleum liquids and gases, which are used to make monomers. The monomers are linked together using chemical reactions or additives to become polymers, which is how different plastics are formed. These are made into pellets or nurdles, the building blocks of plastics. Nurdles are transported to factories and processed into different plastic products, where they are shipped all over the world. Plastics are an amazing material, allowing huge advances in medicine, computers, communication, and travel. The problem with plastic is that much of it is single use and can't be recycled. Of all the plastics ever produced, only 9% has been recycled. After millions of years of processes, the work of thousands of people, and travelling thousands of miles, plastic products are used for seconds and then thrown away, where they take hundreds of years to break down, or end up in the environment and eventually our oceans, where it causes harm. Animals get tangled in plastic or mistake it for food. The plastic releases chemicals in them, also makes them feel full when they are not, so they may starve. The chemicals leached from plastics can also pass and accumulate up food chains, causing further harm. The smell of plastic may even attract some animals to eat it. Another problem to consider is microplastics, which is plastic smaller than 5 millimeters. Common forms include fragments from the breakdown of larger plastics, nurdles which get spilled during plastic production, and fibers from our clothes and other materials. They may pose an even greater threat than large plastics due to their small size, making them more available for animals to eat throughout the food chain, from tiny krill and corals to whales and turtles. The small size also makes it much harder to contain and clean up. Although we can predict how much plastic is in our oceans, we still don't know where most of the plastic is. 99% is unaccounted for. So, what can you do? Don't
I will stop here.
buy on silver.
I will stop here. Now, if, for instance, if I were there, I would have interacted with you. But probably you might think about why I'm showing it to you. The main purpose is plastic, single-use plastic is one of the causes of environmental damage. And Monomita was also showing the other reasons. That's why we have sustainability development goals. And you probably saw some of the pictures of drought and then cyclone and global warming. We have only one solution. And the solution is everything is caused by God, and God is there to save us. And earlier in this talk, Dr. Ram was saying that we are here for research, we are here for career, and also we have day-to-day life. After our talk today, can we take a couple of our actions that we can think of in our day-to-day life, and we think that can I contribute something to the environment, or through our research, or through our career? So please bear in mind that after this session, you take away only two actions that you think that you can contribute to. Let me share my another screen, and I'll explain you what I meant by that. You can see this is developed by MIT, and it's very nice graph, and we can see that on the right top corner. This is a global temperature increase, 3.3 degrees centigrade every year by 2100 years. We are in 2025 and we think we are all okay. And if everything is fine as it is, by 2100 years, that time, every year the global temperature will be increasing by 3.3 degrees centigrade. In 2015, Paris Agreement says that global temperature should be increased by 1.5 degrees centigrade every year. But we are actually not achieving any of those targets, and we are exceeding. As you can see, it will reach to 3.3 degrees centigrade per year of increase by around 70 after 70 years or so. So what we can do, apart from blaming God, apart from praying to God, apart from blaming others, if we think about, let's say, should we increase carbon price? because all those things, sliders, I'll send you all the links to you. Sliders, I can change carbon price, and you'll see that global temperature is now has decreased. So we can take some actions on that at the industry level. If we think about, can we think about energy efficiency in our building, in our university? We try to think about this. Oh, yes, I can see that still we can have some impact on global temperature, which is reducing. If we think about energy efficiency in the transport, actually you can see nothing we can do here. What about deforestation? It's going very high. Sometimes I see some of the packets from Amazon coming to our home. A small item, but within a big box. So it means that at some point, deforestation would be our day-to-day job. So if I try to reduce deforestation, I can see some impact here. So my point here is we can do all sort of stuff in our day-to-day life, but we need to be careful. Let me go back to my usual slide that Mono was talking about. Give me a moment. Yeah. So having this in the background, as Monomita was saying, that the single-use plastic, probably now you see that this picture is not like a single snapshot, it's everywhere. So we have some role for our business, and this theory, if you like, triple bottom line, is quite common, as you know, in your research or in your study. Economy, society, and environment, they cannot work in silo. They have to be related together. They should work together. If you think, no, I am only thinking about environment, and Suman was talking about, you know, carbon emission and so on. It's not actually only environment. Society is also involved. Economy is also involved. And by the way, if you noticed, I said carbon emission. There is no such thing called carbon emission. It's carbon dioxide emission. We sometimes talk about net zero carbon, but it is actually net zero carbon dioxide emission. And we also have misconception. Net zero means ultimately there will be no carbon dioxide emission also. No, that will also be dangerous, because how do you think our plants and trees will survive without carbon dioxide? So net zero carbon dioxide, it means that the absorption and emission should be balanced. So let's take that as a knowledge now. If I think about some of these research works, including we are also working on in all those climate change issues and other modern slavery and so on, which is touching the society also, we found that data is not of high quality. Nowadays, we think about machine learning, artificial intelligence, and so on, that requires big data, which is fine. But are those in data and information of high quality, and they are contextualized for the purpose that we have, and because of that, our decisions will be quite incorrect. So, for instance, you probably remember in 2015, a car company, Volkswagen, they installed a software into their cars to fool the carbon emission tests, carbon dioxide emission tests. And then in the US EPA, they found that actually it is the software which is creating a right amount of carbon dioxide emission of the car, but on-road carbon dioxide emission is quite high. Now, if we think about technology, is it that our technology is helping or technology is suppressing certain information to carry on their business? On the other hand, when we think about let's do something to think about how the environment is changing, how we have the life on the on land, how we think about life under the water, how we think about empowering women and uh, dealing with poverty and all sort of sustainability development goals. We need to think about in our daily life how a simple single innovation can help us to deal with those. But the problem is the way the world is changing is very fast. Therefore, if I think about certain innovation today, the time is very short to have the impact of that innovation in short term. And that is also something that that is concerning all the research nowadays. Challenges. We can think about challenges all the way, and we moan and we cry. We do not have to do anything because there are problems, there are challenges, and we can't do anything. For instance, think about SDG 3, good health and well being. Very recently, we experienced COVID-19, which is, if you think about SDG 3, good health and well being, COVID-19 is part of that good health and well being. But how much we experienced in multiple cities and in villages, in countries, we saw resistance of taking vaccine. Therefore, think about the health worker. How can they work to deal with certain health issues? Quality of education, another SDG 3. SDG means Sustainable Development Goals. Number 4, sorry, SDG 4, quality of education. And we see unrest and disturbance in some countries. Therefore, how can we provide quality education? And in some countries, I saw that their campus is closed and all the education is now online because we know there are many problems going around. Health worker also thinking about the trust. FGM, particularly in African countries, they are finding that whatever the culture, whatever the social norms, general public, they are not going against that. And whenever I say they are not going against that, that means they do not understand that something is better for them if they break their silence. Occupational health, we also heard different companies, they go to Asian countries or where they have cheap labor. They go there, but the factory conditions are not very suitable to live with. And particularly if you remember the case in Bangladesh where people died in their factory. And we think that, we have to achieve SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. How can we do that? So we need something through our research, through our career, some business models, and many more. But if I think about we are in the business school, we are at the university, we can think of coming up with some business models. But good news is there are different things going on. And if you see that Busan, for instance, in South Korea, they have a city on water. It's not Venice in Italy, but they tried to have some floating city there in collaboration with UN Habitat, where the renewable energy would be on site, the food would be on site. This entire city will be flood resistance because the area is coastal line and they are thinking about how to deal with this natural disaster. So some solution is there. And we can think of not like this big project, but small projects that we can think about, and that touches something called SDG 11, sustainable cities and community. Regulators, they are also playing their roles. For example, you probably heard of something called TCFD, TNFD, TCFD, Task Force for on climate-related financial disclosure. And if I give you an example, one of the superstore, Tesco in the UK, they are using TCFD-based scenario analysis since 2015. And they are doing it very successfully by looking at their supply chain, they are looking at the materials, which is very much risky, and so on. I talked about a word called risky. I was teaching corporate finance risk management, and the word risk automatically comes there. And if I ask you, what do you mean by risk? You are thinking something like uncertainty, something like we are not sure. It could be risky. That's why it is risk. Something like this. This is what our students they answer. But I did a little bit of research on the word, and I found in Chinese language, risk is not one word. Risk is actually composed of two different words. One is uncertainty and another is opportunity. So for all the risks, there are some opportunity, and companies are finding out these opportunities. For instance, if I go back again, we are talking about workforce and work conditions, which is again part of SDGs. We are trying to eradicate poverty, therefore we need to generate more jobs. But you can see nowadays what AI is doing, artificial intelligence is doing. The time is to rethink again that it's not taking away a job, but it is changing the job pattern. So we always try to think that technology sometimes good, sometimes bad. It has got its own weaknesses, but how can we take this in our own advantage? That's why when we think about business model, nowadays companies are very much careful of something called purposeful business. They're not talking about sustainable business because, at the end of the day, company requires their profit. So sustainable business has become purposeful business. On the other hand, and again, another example that you can see on the screen, that due to particularly in some countries, tornado, cyclones, the centralized electricity grid, those were destroyed, and it affects the electricity supply to near neighborhood region. But in Puerto Rico, they have introduced a new technology. They call it microgrid. So it is a decentralized model. Therefore, if a certain region has got problem with the electricity supply, it can be restored soon because of the other regions, they have the grid there to supply electricity. This is called the technology. This is called innovative idea to think about. And our students, our researchers, we are here and we can do that very easily in thinking like that. Therefore, our role comes here. And you can see on the screen this triangle. This is called triangle of inaction. Not action, inaction. Triangle of inaction. we always try to blame others. As we know, we are the consumers here, and we think that, if government legislation has got nothing to do, what should I do? Because it is not in regulation, it is not in law, and ethics, which is relative. So we think about what government is doing or what companies are doing. I showed you a plastic bottle. Therefore, in some countries, the plastic bottle's lid can be detached easily. And we used to have that before. So if I think about, should I throw away the lid separately from the bottle? Companies are not thinking about it. Why should I do? On the other hand, if you see that what companies are doing, they are thinking about consumers are not asking for this. Government has got no regulation on that. Therefore, let me do my business as usual. And I'm thinking about my survival. My profit is my prime target. Government is also thinking something differently. Government is thinking that, okay, my country people, they are all fine and we don't need to care about it. Companies are also very silent about it. Therefore, I think about my politics and so on. And ultimately, what happens? Nobody is doing nothing. So everybody is thinking someone else first, then I will do something. So this is our role. Actually, this is not our role at all. And we are not taking any proactive actions. Advanced technology, one of the examples here, Walmart, they are using IBM's Food Trust blockchain tracker because we were doing some research project and we think that carbon emission is very much important and we need to deal with that for reducing that. But through the regulations, sustainability reporting, only big businesses are required to report those. What about small business? If I think about the UK, the lifeblood of the country is small businesses, but they are not required to report any carbon emission through their businesses. And that means many things will be unnoticed through the small business and the supply chain of the big businesses. Therefore, you can see a blockchain technology can help tracking all those information in the supply chain. And it is working in certain companies. Scientists are saying that the same thing that I was talking about. Risk defines also opportunity. As you can see, when Einstein was there, probably the world was not thinking about sustainability. Probably the world has got only World War or Second World War. But being very optimistic, being very much supportive, we see that difficulty will be there, but opportunity will also be there because of the difficulty. My last slide. If you don't like something, change it. If you cannot change it, you need to change yourself. And so we think, I and Manumita, we think that I managed to give all of you some ideas that what you can do in your day-to-day life, in your career, in your research, pick up something. And at the end of this, I will send a link to Dr. Ram and to distribute that link to you. For instance, if you are taking some food now for your lunch, of course, it is not lunch, maybe in your dinner, think about how much carbon dioxide can it be generated because you are taking that food. It's not that we have to starve, we have to fast, but we can think responsibly that what are the foods that we can take in our in our daily routine, and we will be also contributing to the environment. Okay, I will stop here. And if you have any questions, any interest, I and Manumita, we are always open for any kind of research. Please send us some emails and so on.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. So, do we have any questions from the faculty there in the student?
Hello, Dr. Lod and Dr. Nandi. Okay, I'm Dr. Indrajit. I teach in I'm assistant professor in the economics department here. And I have a question for the developing country context like India. Like, we have plastic pollution. Say, like we have one of the largest user of the plastics because they're big population, but plastic is also very cheap. So that's the utility of the plastic. So if we want to try impose a lot of this sustainability practice, the alternatives is more costly. Like if we want to impose, like you have to use jute or more organic materials, so the cost will ultimately will pass to the poor. So we have to balance our economic development objective, as well as how we are managing poverty and how we are treating the poor. So often, sustainability solutions can be quite costly to the poor compared to the rich. How you handle that? How will balance that? That's my question.
Manumita, if you go first.
Yeah, thank you. Nice question. Yeah. So we are not saying that you have to bring in the changes in one go. So you can go pick up one sector and you can focus on one industry where you are using more plastics, and then you can offset. You always got the opportunity, and every business got the opportunity to offset. Say, for example, when we travel for our research purpose or business purpose, then we count how much how much carbon we are emitting because of this travel, and then we try to offset it with something else. So it's not possible to change everything in one go, and definitely the cost will go towards the poor people of the society. So we have to see how we can equally distribute the resources, the point that I was stressing a lot. So if we are taking care of the plastic in one sector and we are offsetting by creating more eco-friendly environment for the well-being of the poor people, then you are still good. So you are not damaging two pillars of this triangle.
Yeah, just to
Thank
add
you.
here,
Thank you for.
just to add
Yes.
here also, I think developing countries understand what is called reuse and repurpose and repair. In my experience, I saw a plastic bag can be used multiple times, even if it is not worth of using. Because of that poverty, because I cannot afford a new plastic bag, that's why I'm using it multiple times. The principle of circular economy is that repair, reuse, repurpose, so that we can reduce a number of production. And here lies the beauty of technology. At the heart of the regenerative economy is that from t equals to 0, when the production started, can we make that plastic bag or whatever that can be going through the circular economy, and we reduce the disposal? We cannot, as I said, we cannot blame the poor people, but whoever is the engineer, whoever is the learned people, our students, our researchers, we can do a little bit change. One little change can make a big difference. This is a proverb. So we can generally cannot avoid, but at least we can reduce it.
Thank you for wonderful insight from both of you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning. This is Dr. Shoaib. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yeah, I teach research to the economics students. And one of my question is that uh, what kind of technology, like we know that we have AI and blockchain. So which technology will be more feasible, or do you believe will have a greater impact on the SDG right now? And how our students of economy can, collaborate with the technology so that they can produce some good quality research paper and have some, social contributions, like not only social but economy, like the three sustainable goal which you said. So that's my question.
Yeah, thank you. So I can start, and this is really important. We all are teaching our future generation how to use the technology, and it's always a challenge how to pick up the right technology. It depends on the industry you are focusing on what type of advancement you want to see. So the way we are using the technology is to get more data. So if we have more data, we can analyze big data with recent technologies, and in some places that where it was very difficult for human being to collect the data, say for example the oil pipeline, or when you talk about renewable energy like hydrogen and others, so that human being cannot go there to collect the data, right? But we can use robots to check that where there is a leak in the pipe that is transporting the energy from one place to another, and in this way we can fix the problem earlier on, so that it's not wasted at the end, or it doesn't any product doesn't go to the landfill very quickly. In this case, we can repair the leaks and we can reduce our cost, because we have to also think about the cost benefit side. And in sustainability, like in health sector, we can see lots of surgeries has been done, which are by using technology, which is helping us, which is saving our lives. And in finance, we can get big data, we can do extensive modeling, like good modeling, and we can reduce the error terms, and we can do better forecasting that will help us to find out where we should allocate our resources to get the maximum financial benefit by investing in sustainable projects. So that's how I see the application of technology.
Yeah. Apart from the big data and analytics and so on, which economic student can do, I think if the project is a little larger and depending on the funding availability, I heard in some part in the US, it's very fascinating. They are using mobile phone to capture some information. Now, if I think about our smartphones, which becomes very much old-fashioned very soon because of the technological upgradation and the business plan of the big companies. But what about the older phones, which is still available, which can have some Bluetooth capability, and they are using these older smartphones which nobody can use, but which can be the waste dumping in landfill and so on, but they're using this to capture information from the forest through Bluetooth connections, and they're tackling with if any poachers are inside a forest area. With a sensor, they are capturing the information very quickly and they take the actions. Deforestation also can be tackled by this kind of, it doesn't cost much, but we can again use the same thing, reusing our existing technology, but repurposing it for different way.
Yes.
Thank you
Uh,
so much. That was, yes. Any student want to ask any question? No? Okay. There is no question from the student side. Ram sir?
okay. Yeah, sir. So I have one question from my side. Is that how important is this collaboration like we have between academia and industry to gain more insight regarding these sustainable development goals? And can you please tell us what's going on in UK with respect to these goals? Like Rest of the world generally look at the West, what they are doing. When the regulator in our countries, like in Asian countries, when they need to do all these kind of things, they look at the West. So can you please tell what's going on here in attaining these kind of the goals and how the regulators they are seeing these things?
Yeah, there is a good way of working with the regulators, and we researchers have good connections with the regulators. We inform you. You have seen that we worked with the Indian government. It's not only the West. So when we saw the consultation during the COVID time, just to give you an insight how it might work. So we saw a consultation that they were trying to change the sustainability reporting framework, and then we started looking into it. And anyway, we were working on the global framework, so we were quite familiar with what are the challenges could be. And the main challenge was the report that companies were producing was very qualitative. It was not quantitative. And so what we felt like, if we are an investor, it would be very difficult for us to understand which company is doing better than whom. And that's also related to greenwashing and other commitment issues also. So what we did, we produced a 4-stage model where every company can understand where we are, what needs to be done, and how we can achieve that number. Like, that's a 300 score you need to get. And it's not possible for every company. If you are in IT sector, you might not be able to tick all the boxes, but if you are doing good in your industry, that's enough. And then how you should progress in your pathway. So we developed this model, which became mandatory for top 1000 companies from 2022. So it was definitely not an easy process. We have to go through lots of meetings and presentations, get the feedback from the stakeholders also, and all the big companies are following it. And the advantage is, when the big companies are following, then the smaller companies who wants to be in their supply chain, they are also trying to do something good, even if there is no regulation for them. So if you can introduce a regulation or a framework for the big companies, the small companies will follow you. So saying that, we work very closely with businesses, the small businesses also, and most of them are small businesses in the UK, as Suman was explaining, and there we do the student projects with them. So we ask them, what is your challenge? And then we kind of find out students who wants to work with them for dissertation or other purposes. And regarding the policymakers, if you want to influence the policymakers in your region, start with a smaller one. And if you manage to get some funding from the government is happy to fund those research projects, but they need the evidence. So from Uzbekistan, you all people can lead, and we can support you in that process to how to communicate with them. So because we are regularly communicating with British Parliament, different committees, EU committees, and we are taking part in consultation projects. So sometime if you see anything like that, you or your colleagues, let us know, let's discuss, and we will definitely find out a way how to talk to them in their language. So that's something we can do together.
Yeah, and a university industry partnership is always important. We have the lab experiment, we have the knowledge, we have the theory, and also we have the expertise. Industry has got the practical day-to-day life experience. So if we put all together, then ultimately things would happen. One example here in the UK, we have low emission zone, ultra low emission zone. In that way, certain cars are, or certain vehicles are deterred to go inside those areas. So some way it is a kind of incentive for people to buy a newer car, so that carbon dioxide emission would be lower. Some other examples, you probably heard of say in Barcelona or in Milan, Spain, Italy, they have got a particular region called Smart City, where you do not have to travel much, but you have all your essential requirements in hand's length. So you just travel a little bit, maybe by your bicycle or walk. You have everything very close to you. Therefore, you do not have to drive, and that means we are people there. They are not responsible for carbon dioxide emission. But
Yes.
one thing philosophically we always forget: sun rises in the east.
That's it. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Okay.
I think, Dr. Ram, one more thing here, that even at your university level, you can
Mhm.
start different projects, how to make your building more sustainable. So we have to do, we got a tracking system that what we are doing at university level. So
Mhm.
that can be done. And even at school level, they are now
Mhm.
teaching the children about sustainability, biodiversity, because
Mhm.
they are the next generation. And like university, like your university, Amity University, we all can come together to see that which sector we can target to introduce this. And in all our
Yes.
modules, all our programs, we have to
Mhm.
teach students different
Mhm.
sustainable goals. In almost all universities are following this same structure. So
Mhm.
saying that there are enough opportunities. There are challenges, but as Suman was
Mhm.
explaining, but all those challenges got some opportunities. We have to just identify carefully that what are those opportunities. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank
Hopefully it
you.
was
Thank you, ma'am.
helpful.
Yes,
It's a
ma'am.
good discussion. Yeah.
Definitely. We will find some areas for collaboration also in
Yes,
future,
definitely.
Yeah,
with
sure.
respect to the rules, regulations that we have here. So I think we have no more questions. I'm checking the chat. So thank you very much, sir and ma'am,
Thank you.
for your insightful discussion. And on behalf of the MIT University Tashkent, we extend our gratitude to our leaders, Dr. Ashok Chauhan, Founder President, Dr. Atul Chauhan, Chancellor of MIT University, and Dr. Amol Chauhan, Trustee, MIT Education Group, for their continuous encouragement and supporting these kind of the activities. It is their vision that we need to discuss whole things with these other universities and come to a common ground. And we also express our gratitude to Dr. Naina Chaudhary, First Deputy Director, Mr. Sukat Sattarao, Director of Amity University Tashkent, and also to all the faculty members, students, and the participants who joined us today. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Again, we will find some areas for collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Ram, do you want any group picture for your record, or you don't need that? You can
Yeah,
take a
we
screenshot if you want.
yes, IT and I'm also taking screenshots, ma'am, on regular intervals. We do have the
Oh,
pictures
okay.
for all
Okay.
these
So I
systems.
thought, no, you need that now.
No,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you very
we
much.
have. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very much, sir. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you for your
Thank you.
invitation.
Thank
Bye.
you. It
Bye-bye.
was an honor. So
Bye.
thank you.
Uh,
Bye.
Thank you, sir. I request IT to close this session, please.